You lie in stillness, the kind of stillness that belongs only to the night. The world around you fades, the hum of the day softens, and above you stretches an expanse so wide that your thoughts begin to loosen from their edges. The stars glimmer faintly, like the smallest sparks on a boundless black canvas. Yet the more you gaze, the more you realize that the stars are not the whole story. They are only the dots, scattered lightly. What lies between them, the vast invisible space itself, is where the deeper secret hides. That space is not empty, it is not silent, not frozen, not still. It is breathing, not in the way your chest rises and falls, but in a cosmic rhythm far grander, far slower, and far more enduring. The universe itself expands outward, stretching in all directions as though it is exhaling with infinite patience. You cannot feel it in your body, you cannot hear it with your ears, but it is happening ceaselessly everywhere, all the time. This expansion is not new. It has been unfolding since the beginning, since the first spark of existence. Yet only recently did humanity notice it, and even now, most of the universe goes on, indifferent to our understanding. You are like a leaf floating on the surface of an unseen tide, carried gently by a current that never pauses. Close your eyes and imagine this motion. Galaxies, each one filled with billions of stars, drift apart, as though some invisible breeze presses softly between them. The Milky Way, your home, is among them, sailing outward across a sea that has no edges. The distance between galaxies grows wider, not because they are moving through space, but because space itself stretches between them, like dough rising, or like ink spreading in clear water. It is easy to think of the universe as fixed, as a painting hung in silence, but the truth is more delicate, more fluid. The painting is not finished. It is still being drawn, line by line, stroke by stroke, with colors shifting as the canvas itself grows larger. And here you are, a small presence beneath the stars, breathing in rhythm with the cosmos. When your lungs fill, you feel a tiny echo of that larger breath, as though your body is reminding you that you too are part of something that moves, something that expands. The stars you see tonight are ancient, their light traveling for millions of years just to reach your eyes. That light is a message, a whisper of what once was. But while the light moves toward you, the space it crosses stretches at the same time, lengthening the journey. The very distance between here and there grows even as the beam of light tries to bridge it. This is the quiet breath of the cosmos, a breath that makes every moment of looking upward into both a glimpse of the past and a reminder of the present expansion. Picture yourself standing in an open field at night. Around you the horizon is dark, above you countless stars glitter. You imagine them as lanterns hung in the sky, but imagine too that the sky itself is stretching. The lanterns do not move by their own power. Instead, the cloth on which they are pinned slowly pulls apart. The sky breathes, and the lanterns drift, carried away in silence. This idea can feel impossible, too vast to hold in your mind, and yet, in its impossibility, lies its gentleness. The expansion does not happen suddenly, like a storm rushing through. It happens slowly, softly, with the patience of billions of years. You cannot sense it in the short span of your life, just as you cannot watch a mountain rise while you stand upon it. The change is too grand for one lifetime to contain, and so it passes unnoticed, until you begin to listen, until you let your thoughts stretch wide enough to feel it. There is something deeply comforting in this. The universe expands not with violence, but with grace. It does not push or shove, it does not roar or strike. It breathes, its breath is endless, its rhythm steady. You lie beneath that rhythm, like a child rocked by the slow sway of the world. Scientists give this expansion names and measurements. They chart it in numbers and trace it through telescopes. But here in the quiet of your thoughts, you need no charts. You only need to know that everything is in motion, even if that motion is invisible to you. You need only to feel the calm assurance that the universe is alive with change, gentle and unhurried. This breath of the cosmos holds within it mysteries still unseen. Something drives the expansion, something hidden, subtle and powerful, an invisible pressure woven into the very fabric of space. You cannot touch it, cannot taste it, cannot even point to it, yet its presence is real, undeniable, a guiding hand stretching everything outward. For now you do not need to name it, you only need to rest in its rhythm. The stars above you, the galaxies beyond, the spaces between them, all ride on the same invisible tide. You drift with them, carried on a current that has flowed since time began, and will continue long after your thoughts dissolve into dream. The night deepens, and the silence of the cosmos feels less like emptiness and more like fullness, full of unseen motion, full of invisible breath, full of the steady promise that nothing is truly still. In that promise you find rest. You breathe in, and for a moment, you imagine you are breathing with the universe itself. A small inhale, a small echo of a greater exhale. You breathe out, and space continues its endless widening. With each cycle of your lungs, you align with the quiet, infinite rhythm of the cosmos. And as you drift deeper into this thought, you begin to wonder, if the universe expands without end, what does it mean for tomorrow, for the stars, for the galaxies sailing on their slow tide? Somewhere beyond the edge of vision, the universe stretches still, a steady breath you cannot hear. And yet with each passing moment the question grows softer, but sharper. What kind of universe is this, that refuses to rest? The night sky may look eternal, a still dome of stars fixed in place. You might imagine it as a ceiling painted with lights, unmoving, constant, reassuring in its permanence. Yet if you look deeper, if you listen with the ears of science, you discover that this ceiling is not still at all. The universe itself refuses to rest. It stretches and swells, as though some invisible hand steadily fills it with breath. Think of a balloon. You hold it in your hands, soft and empty at first. Then, with each inhale, you fill it, and its surface expands, carrying every mark, every speck of color farther apart. Now release the image of your breath, and replace it with time itself. Imagine the balloon, not held by you, but floating in infinite space, swelling not because of lungs, but because of the very laws that govern existence. That is your universe, a balloon filled by time, always stretching, always expanding. The galaxies are not like dots of ink drifting through a vast still ocean. Instead they are painted on the very fabric of space, and as the fabric stretches, so too does the distance between them. Two galaxies that once seemed near, like close companions, now slide away from each other, not because they move through space, but because space itself is growing between them, silent and patient. You live inside this expansion. Every star you see is part of it. Every cluster of galaxies, every cloud of cosmic dust. The Milky Way, your own home in the cosmos, rides along this flow, carried outward like a leaf on a swelling tide. You do not feel the motion beneath your feet, yet it is constant, unstoppable. It becomes the background rhythm of all existence, a rhythm so steady you rarely notice it. Pause for a moment. Imagine yourself on a raft in the middle of an endless sea. The water beneath you shifts, slowly rising and falling, and though you hardly notice, the tide carries you farther from every distant shore. The sea does not rage or storm, it only swells, patient and vast. This is the universe you inhabit, a sea of space stretching around you, carrying everything upon its silent tide. Scientists once believed the cosmos might slow down with age. After all, gravity tugs on everything, pulling stars inward, pulling galaxies back together, pulling the universe toward rest. But what they found was stranger. The expansion did not slow, as if tiring from effort. It continued, steady and strong, as though nothing could resist it. The universe, once thought to be a fading fire, revealed itself to be something far more restless, far more enduring. When you look at the stars tonight, you see them as they once were, their light traveling across the widening fabric of space. That light is stretched too, its waves pulled longer and softer, as space itself expands. Scientists call this the redshift, the soft drift of light into longer colors, like music lowered into a deeper key. Each beam of light carries within it the memory of expansion, a record of the universe's refusal to stay still. You too feel this refusal in subtle ways. Though you cannot sense the stretching of space around you, your life is part of the same restless motion. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought unfolds within a universe that is always changing, never frozen, never truly still. The stars overhead are companions, but they are also travelers, moving farther with every passing age. There is something soothing in this knowledge. Restlessness is not chaos here. It is not the frantic motion of a troubled mind. It is instead the calm insistence of nature, the steady rhythm of a universe that continues to breathe, to grow, to unfold. It is not violent, it is not hurried, it is patient, it is quiet, and it is everywhere. Imagine the balloon again. In its first moments, it was small, compact, its surface close and tight. As it grew, the marks upon it drifted apart, and if you had drawn two tiny stars side by side, you would see them now carried away from each other. That drift continues still, as though no one will ever stop blowing into it, as though time itself will never set the balloon aside. This image rests gently in your mind, reminding you that you too are painted on this cosmic fabric, carried outward without effort, without choice, but also without fear. Somewhere, deep in the silence of space, galaxies drift away beyond sight, too distant ever to return. Others remain faintly visible, whispering of the time when they were closer, when the universe was younger. And here you are, looking upward, alive in the moment between what was and what will be, resting inside the breath of the cosmos. The universe does not rest, and yet it does not hurry. It expands in silence, in patience, in calm inevitability. You rest within that inevitability, like a traveler on a river too wide to see, too deep to measure, flowing onward without end. And as you listen to this gentle rhythm, a question begins to form. If the universe stretches always, what was it that first revealed this secret to human eyes? Who first noticed the galaxies drifting away, and how did they read such motion in the language of light? The universe continues to widen, calm and unstoppable, a quiet exhale. You can neither pause nor hear, and somewhere, in the memory of light itself, waits the story of how this restless truth was first discovered. You imagine yourself standing in the stillness of night, telescope pressed gently to your eye. The stars look quiet, timeless, eternal, as if they have always been where they are, and always will be. For most of human history that was the belief. The heavens were thought to be fixed, a grand clock whose gears never shifted. The stars might rise and set, the planets might wander their paths, but the universe as a whole was steady, unmoving, eternal. And yet about a century ago, a quiet revolution began. Astronomers, peering deeper than ever before, started to see something strange. The galaxies, those immense islands of stars, were not still. They were not holding their places like candles in the dark. Instead, they were slipping away. The more carefully scientists looked, the more they realized that everything was drifting outward. At first it was light itself that carried the clue. Light is more than brightness. It has length, it has rhythm, it has tone, like the string of a violin. When space stretches, that string is pulled longer and thinner, its note dropping into softer keys. Astronomers found that the light from distant galaxies was stretched in just this way. The stars did not glow in the sharp, familiar tones of nearby sun. Their light shifted, softened, reddened, a cosmic signature written across the sky. This effect became known as the redshift, a quiet drifting of light toward longer waves. It was as if the galaxies were not standing still, but slipping backward, pulling away through the fabric of space. The further away a galaxy was, the greater the stretch of its light, as though distance and departure were bound together. One astronomer who listened closely to this message was Edwin Hubble. From his mountain observatory in California, he studied the faint smudges of galaxies with painstaking care. Through the patterns of their light, he measured how quickly they moved, and what he found was astonishing. The farther away a galaxy was, the faster it seemed to fly. The universe was not a quiet, frozen structure. It was alive with motion. Pause here, and imagine what it meant. For centuries humans gazed at the sky as if it were a grand cathedral, high, holy, and unmoving. And now, in the span of a few decades, that cathedral cracked open. It was not stone but fabric, not fixed but flowing. Space itself was stretching. You drift into this thought as though you are floating on a slow current. Galaxies become boats carried apart by an unseen tide. Their lanterns glow as they recede, their beams softened by distance, their light stretched into whispers. You are not standing outside this tide. You are within it, carried along with your own galaxy, adrift in the expansion. There is something humbling in this realization. You live inside a universe that is not only vast, but restless. Every star above you is in motion. Every cluster of galaxies is moving outward. The very scale of existence is changing, and yet it does not feel chaotic. It feels like a quiet exhale, a breath you only notice once you stop to listen. Think of it this way. You are in a great hall, filled with echoes. Someone strikes a note on a violin and the sound carries, softening as it travels outward. That is the light of the galaxies, a sound stretched by space, softened by distance. By listening to those echoes, astronomers uncovered the truth. The universe is not steady, it is expanding, everywhere, all at once. The discovery was not just about movement, it was about time itself. If the galaxies are moving apart now, then at some earlier moment, they must have been close. Trace the motion backward, and you find a time when everything was bound together, compressed, dense, hot, blazing. This was the seed of the idea that the universe had a beginning, a first expansion, a first breath, a moment when everything erupted outward. You close your eyes and feel that backward pull. All the galaxies around you, all the stars, all the clusters, all the drifting light, once pressed into a single fiery point. And then, the breath began, and it has never stopped. The discovery of expansion was not only about distance, it was about origin. And yet, even as astronomers measured this widening, questions deepened. What was pushing the galaxies apart? Why did space refuse to stay still? Was it some hidden force, or was expansion simply the natural state of things, woven into the fabric of reality? The answers were not yet clear, and even today, many remain mysterious. But the revelation was enough. The universe was not the cathedral of stone it had once seemed. It was alive with change. For you listening here in the quiet, the story becomes more than history. It becomes a kind of lullaby. You picture light stretched across time, galaxies drifting like lanterns, space breathing with a rhythm too slow to hear. You float alongside the discovery, letting its meaning settle over you. Nothing is fixed, not even the star. Everything widens, everything drifts, everything is part of the same soft exhale. And as this realization deepens, another image rises in your mind. To trace expansion, to measure distances across such endless scales, astronomers needed more than guessing. They needed steady lights, cosmic candles that could reveal just how far galaxies had gone. Without those guiding flames, the drift of the cosmos might have remained hidden, too subtle to see. You rest now in the wonder of discovery, galaxies receding like lanterns in the night. But in the silence of space, a question lingers softly. How do you measure the dark? And what kind of candle can shine across a universe? You picture yourself in a vast night, deeper than any you have ever seen. The sky above is not only filled with stars but with smudges, faint and far, galaxies scattered like spilled grains of salt. They are beautiful, yes, but for astronomers they were also puzzled. To know how the universe was changing, one had to measure how far those galaxies were, and how fast they drifted. Yet in a cosmos so wide, how could you measure such distance? Imagine standing on a dark path, lanterns stretching away into the distance. Some shine close, their glow familiar, others shimmer faintly, their light thin and fragile. If you knew exactly how bright each lantern was meant to be, you could tell how far away it was, simply by how dim it appeared. This was the task astronomers faced, to find lanterns in the sky, whose true brightness was always the same. They called them standard candles. These stars became the steady flames by which distances could be measured. They were not ordinary stars, for ordinary stars vary too much, burning in unique ways, impossible to compare. Instead, astronomers found special types of stars whose light was predictable, reliable, unwavering in their brilliance. Among them were Cepheid variables, stars that pulse like slow heartbeats, brightening and dimming in steady rhythm. By reading their pulse, astronomers could know their true strength, and from that calculate their distance. Later came an even brighter candle, the type Ia supernova. These are not steady stars but dying ones, exploding with such force that they shine with the same power every time, like fireworks that never vary in their final birth. When one of these supernovae ignites in a distant galaxy, its blaze becomes a cosmic ruler, stretching across millions of light-years. No matter how faint it seems from Earth, astronomers can calculate how far it must be, because they know how bright it truly is. Close your eyes for a moment, and imagine these cosmic candles flickering across the dark. Some are steady pulses, like the rhythm of a calm breath. Others are sudden flares, magnificent, like a match struck in infinite silence. Yet all serve the same purpose, to light the way through the night of space. Without them, distance would remain guesswork. With them, the architecture of the cosmos became measurable, traceable, real. With these candles, astronomers began to map the great expansion of the universe. Each measured distance became a point on the chart of cosmic motion. Each faint supernova became a signpost on the path of galaxies slipping away. Slowly the picture came into focus. Not only was the universe expanding, but it was doing so with a rhythm more mysterious than anyone had imagined. For when they measured with increasing care, scientists saw something unexpected. Galaxies far away were not just drifting, they were rushing faster than those nearby. The expansion was not slowing down with time, as once thought, but speeding up. And it was these candles, these flickering points of steady light, that revealed it. The quiet fire of dying stars uncovered one of the greatest mysteries of all, that something unseen, something powerful, was stretching the universe more and more quickly. You let this realization sink into you like a tide. Imagine walking a beach at twilight, lanterns placed at intervals along the shore. At first you think they are evenly spaced, but as you walk farther you realize each new lantern is not just farther away than the last, but farther by a greater margin. The spacing itself grows. The universe behaves like this shoreline, stretching wider, carrying galaxies apart faster as time goes on.
Without the candles, you would not notice. The darkness would feel uniform, endless, immeasurable. But with them, the invisible expansion is traced in faint, steady strokes. The cosmos writes its own story, not in words, but in light stretched thin across distance. And in this story lies a paradox. To see the invisible, you must look at what burns out. To measure the vast and permanent, you must turn to what is fragile and fleeting. The death of a star, a single flare that vanishes after weeks, becomes the tool to measure the universe itself, which endures for billions of years. In endings, astronomers found beginnings. In extinguished flames, they found the hand of something larger than all stars combined. There is comfort in this thought. The universe hides its mysteries in plain sight, but it also provides the tools to find them. The faint candlelight of distant stars is enough to reveal truths too large for human eyes. You may feel small beneath the night, yet with these small lights, humanity has seen into the infinite. As you rest with this image, the candles continue to burn in your mind. Some pulse gently, like your own heartbeat. Some flare brightly, like sudden inspiration. Each one whispers of distance, of expansion, of the restless breath of the cosmos, and each one pulls you deeper into the mystery, into the silence that surrounds them. For the more you measure, the clearer it becomes. Something is pushing galaxies away, something beyond gravity, beyond matter, beyond even light. The candles show you the effect, but not the cause. Their glow outlines the mystery, but cannot name it. And so you drift toward the next question, soft but insistent. If light has revealed the swelling of space, what is the force behind the push? The candles burn softly in the dark, their glow revealing a universe that stretches faster with time. Yet behind their steady flames lingers a deeper silence, the silence of a hidden force that does not shine, but only pushes. You have always known gravity. You feel it when your feet press against the floor, when your body sinks into the mattress at night, when objects fall softly into your hand. Gravity is familiar, comforting and constant. It is the quiet tether that holds you to the earth, the pull that keeps the moon dancing around its planet, the embrace that keeps the planets circling the sun. From the smallest pebble to the greatest star, gravity whispers one command: come close. It is a force of gathering, a force of attraction, the universe's hand drawing everything inward. Without it, stars could not burn, galaxies could not hold, planets could not circle. Without gravity, the cosmos would scatter into aimless fragments. And yet, gravity is not the whole story, for there exists another presence, one that does not pull but pushes. It is quieter, subtler, less familiar, yet no less real. It does not announce itself with falling apples or the steady tug you feel at every moment of your life. Instead, it hides in the distances between galaxies, in the spaces so wide you cannot see their edges. It is here, woven into the very fabric of space, pressing outward in silence. This is dark energy, a counterforce, a gentle expansion, written into the universe itself. Unlike gravity, which clumps and gathers, dark energy spreads, and loosens. It does not roar, it does not blaze, it does not weigh upon you. Instead it breathes outward, endlessly, a quiet insistence that everything must drift apart. Imagine a rope pulled tight by two hands. One hand pulls inward, that is gravity. The other pushes outward, that is dark energy. The rope stretches, not collapsing, not snapping, but held in a delicate balance. You are living on that rope, walking upon its tension, part of a universe suspended between two opposing desires, to gather together and to fly apart. For much of history, gravity was believed to be the sole master of cosmic fate. It seemed inevitable that the universe, expanding since its fiery beginning, would one day slow down. Like a ball tossed into the sky, it would rise for a while but eventually fall back, pulled by gravity's patient strength. Perhaps it would collapse entirely, folding back into itself, ending in fire as it began. But then, the light of distant galaxies told another story. The candles of the cosmos, those faint supernovae, revealed something astonishing. The universe was not slowing down, it was speeding up. Gravity was not winning. Some other hand, invisible and persistent, was pressing outward more strongly than gravity could draw inward. The cosmos was not falling back into itself, it was racing away faster and faster with time. You let this revelation settle within you. Gravity, the familiar friend, is not the only guide. Dark energy is its counterpart, not a destroyer, but a balancer. Together, they write the universe's story. One gathers, one disperses, one pulls, one pushes, and you live within their dialogue, cradled by the push and pull of forces beyond sight. It is humbling to imagine. On Earth, gravity feels absolute, a law you cannot escape. Yet on the largest scales, across galaxies and clusters, and superclusters, it is not the final word. The universe has a second breath, a second command, one that works against gravity's embrace. And though you do not feel it in your daily steps, it is everywhere, stretching every distance, shaping every horizon. Picture a drop of ink, spreading slowly across a sheet of paper. Gravity would prefer it to clump into one dark spot, gathering itself together, but dark energy pulls it thin, coaxing it outward, widening its reach, until the color touches the edges. The cosmos is that paper, and you live within the spreading ink. And though the name sounds ominous, dark does not mean evil, it means hidden, it means unseen. Dark energy does not burn like fire, does not sting like lightning, does not press like weight. It is simply there, steady as silence, patient as breath. You do not feel it, but it shapes everything you will ever know.
There is comfort in its gentleness. Dark energy does not rush. It expands the cosmos with infinite patience, like a tide that never ends, like the slow unfurling of a flower under the morning sun. It balances gravity's grasp, ensuring that the universe does not collapse too soon, that the stars have time to burn, that life has time to emerge, that you have time to wonder. And yet, questions linger. What is this energy? Is it woven into space itself, a property of the vacuum, a hum of existence that cannot be silenced? Or is it something deeper still, something humanity has not yet begun to name? For now, it remains a mystery, known only through its effect, invisible but undeniable, like wind seen only in the sway of trees. You breathe in and you feel the inward pull of gravity, holding you close to the earth. You breathe out, and you imagine the outward push of dark energy, stretching the galaxies wider apart. Inhale, exhale, gravity, dark energy, pull, push. The balance is everywhere, even in your body, even in your breath. As you drift deeper into this thought, you realize the universe is not ruled by one force, but by a conversation between two. And in that conversation lies both tension and harmony, both mystery and meaning. But if most of what exists is unseen, dark energy, dark matter, invisible scaffolding, then what you see, stars and galaxies and glowing dust, is only a fraction of reality, which raises a quiet, lingering question. What else lies hidden, outweighing everything you know? Gravity pulls you inward, dark energy presses you outward, and between them you drift in balance. Yet beyond both forces, the universe hides another secret, a hidden majority, larger still, waiting to be understood. You have stood beneath the night sky, feeling small against its vastness. Each star seems like a universe unto itself, and when you imagine the galaxies beyond, your sense of scale drifts even farther from what feels familiar. You think of yourself as a tiny part of creation, a speck in a cosmos immeasurably large. But even this humility does not reach far enough. For most of what exists in the universe, most of its mass, most of its energy, most of its reality, is not visible at all. The stars you see are dazzling, yes, but they are only fragments. Galaxies, glowing clouds, planets, even your own body. All of this together makes up less than 5% of the universe. The rest belongs to the hidden majority, dark matter and dark energy, forces that outweigh all that glitters, all that shines. Imagine a grand stage, illuminated by spotlights. You see the actors moving across the floor, their gestures lit in gold, yet behind them lies a scaffolding of wires, pulleys, and beams that you cannot see from your seat. Without it, the play could not unfold, the lights could not shine, the actors could not perform. The visible cosmos is like those actors, bright, enchanting, and obvious, but the hidden structure, the unseen majority, is what holds the story together. Dark energy, you have already met, the quiet outward push woven into the fabric of space, stretching galaxies apart. But alongside it, there is another invisible presence, dark matter. Unlike dark energy, which spreads everywhere, dark matter clumps together. It does not glow, does not burn, does not give off light, and yet its pull is essential. It forms halos around galaxies, binding stars into spirals, keeping clusters from flying apart. Picture a galaxy as a great whirlpool of stars. You might expect the outermost stars, far from the center, to drift away, like leaves flung from a spinning wheel, yet they do not. They remain bound, orbiting faster than visible matter alone should allow. Something unseen holds them in place, adding gravity where no light exists. That unseen hand is dark matter. You cannot see it directly, no telescope reveals it, but its fingerprint lies everywhere, in the way galaxies spin, in the way light bends around clusters, in the way the cosmos arranges itself on the largest scale. Dark matter outweighs all the stars, all the gas, all the glowing dust you can see. It is a silent majority, shaping the architecture of the universe, without ever revealing its face. And so you rest in the knowledge that what you see is not all there is. The shining stars are only clues, only symbols. The universe is built on scaffolding unseen, cradled by forces you cannot touch, bound by matter you cannot measure, except through its pull. This realization may feel unsettling at first. To live in a world where most of reality is invisible can seem like a dream or a trick of the mind, but there is comfort in mystery too. For the unseen does not mean unreal, it simply means hidden, waiting to be uncovered. Just as your own body holds secrets beneath the surface, the beating of your heart, the silent exchange of oxygen in your blood, so too does the universe hold secrets beneath its stars. You breathe, and the thought deepens. If only 5% of the universe is visible, then every star you see is a rarity, a jewel glittering on a vast, invisible sea. The darkness between those stars is not empty, it is alive with structure, alive with force. You look into the night and instead of emptiness, you now sense fullness, a hidden weight that outnumbers the visible. This hidden majority balances delicately with what you know. Dark matter pulls galaxies inward, keeping their shapes intact. Dark energy presses outward, stretching space between them. Together they script the evolution of the cosmos, writing a story larger than all visible light. Without dark matter, galaxies could not form. Without dark energy, expansion would not accelerate. Without both, the universe would not be what it is. Think again of the stage. The lights are beautiful, yes, but without the hidden scaffolding, the show would collapse. So too with the cosmos. The visible is only the surface, the hidden is the structure, the hidden is the majority. It is humbling to rest in this thought. The night sky, magnificent as it is only a fragment of reality. What you see is not all there is, not even most of what there is, and yet, you are part of both the visible and the hidden. The atoms in your body once burned in stars, yes, but they are held together by forces deeper still,
forces that whisper from the unseen majority. There is something deeply meditative in accepting this. You do not need to see everything to trust that it exists. You do not need to understand all forces to rest in their balance. You float in a universe vast beyond comprehension, and most of it is invisible. But the invisible holds you, carries you, and allows the stars to shine.
You close your eyes and imagine yourself drifting through a galaxy. Around you, stars burn like lanterns, but beyond them lies an invisible halo, a quiet embrace of dark matter. And farther still, the vast ocean of dark energy, stretching everything out. You are suspended between them, part of their dialogue, part of their hidden structure. The thought leaves you lighter, not heavier, for if most of the universe is hidden, then mystery itself is natural. Mystery is the majority, and you, a small presence within it, are not excluded but included, part of the same balance, the same unseen fullness. And as you rest within this thought, another image begins to form. If dark matter and dark energy are everywhere, invisible yet undeniable, then perhaps they are not only around you, but beneath you. Perhaps they are not distant, but woven into the very fabric you walk upon, the very space you breathe within. The hidden majority surrounds you, unseen, silent, shaping all you know. But to sense it more deeply, you must imagine space itself as a fabric, stretched and woven, carrying galaxies like threads across an endless loop. Close your eyes and think of space not as a void, not as an emptiness, but as something you can touch. Imagine it as cloth, stretched wide, rippling under invisible fingers. A great weave surrounds you, a texture too fine for your skin to feel, yet strong enough to carry every star, every planet, every galaxy. This is the fabric of space itself, the quiet stage upon which all existence unfolds. The stars are not scattered on nothingness. They are embroidered onto this fabric, like beads sewn into a vast tapestry. Each galaxy is a jewel pinned to the threads, each cluster a pattern of glowing knots. You are not separate from the fabric either. You are sewn into it, part of the same weave, carried along whenever the cloth moves. And it does move. It stretches, not in a sudden snap, not in a tearing, but in a patient, unending pull. Imagine a piece of cloth being tugged gently from every edge. Its threads do not break. Instead they yield, sliding apart, creating more space between each knot. The galaxies ride these threads, drifting as the fabric expands. The expansion is not something galaxies choose. It is something woven into the fabric itself, something irresistible. This is where dark energy lives, not as a separate thing, not as an invader from outside, but as part of the cloth. It is the loom itself, the unseen machine that stretches each thread, weaving expansion into the texture of reality. It is not a sound, not a light, not a touch. It is more subtle, a property of existence, humming within the weave. Imagine lying down upon this cloth. It stretches beneath you, firm but soft, endless in every direction. You do not slip through it, for you are part of it. You do not cling to it, for you are carried naturally wherever it flows. The galaxies around you drift with you, each one sewn into the same fabric, each one moving as the threads widen. The motion is not frantic, it is calm, steady, like the rise of a tide that never retreats. This idea that space is not empty but has structure first took root through the insights of Albert Einstein. In his equations, space and time were no longer separate, no longer rigid. They were a single fabric. Space-time, it could bend, it could curve, it could stretch. Matter and energy told space-time how to shape itself, and space-time told matter and energy how to move. This was the great exchange, the silent conversation that governs the cosmos. When a star burns, its mass curves the fabric around it. You see this as gravity, not as a pull, but as the bending of threads, the dipping of cloth beneath a weight. Planets circle the dip, not because an invisible hand drags them, but because the fabric itself is shaped that way. In the same way, dark energy is not a force from outside. It is woven into the fabric itself, a tension in the threads that urges them outward. Picture tossing a stone onto a trampoline. The fabric dips, pulling everything toward the stone. That is gravity. Now imagine the trampoline itself slowly stretching outward, not because of what you placed on it, but because of something deep within its weave. That is dark energy. It is not caused by matter, but by the fabric of space itself. You let this vision linger, a cosmos that is not rigid,
but alive. A cosmos that bends, curves, ripples, and stretches. You are lying on this fabric, always. You walk across it every day, though you do not feel its threads beneath your feet. You are sewn into its weave, every atom in your body stitched to the same cloth as the star. There is comfort in this thought. You are not separate, not floating in a void. You are supported, always, by a structure that holds everything together. And while gravity bends the fabric inward, dark energy stretches it outward. Between these two, the tapestry remains in motion, balanced between gathering and dispersing. Now imagine pulling gently on the corner of a bedsheet. The folds flatten, the threads tighten, and anything resting on the sheet drifts farther from everything else. This is how galaxies move within space, not because they are pushing themselves away, but because the sheet they lie upon is being stretched. The stars are passengers. You are too. And if the fabric can stretch, then perhaps it can ripple as well. Indeed, scientists have measured tiny vibrations traveling across space-time, gravitational waves, like ripples across a pond. They are faint, so faint they pass unnoticed through you even now. Yet they reveal that the fabric is not only stretched, but the universe is alive with movement, subtle but unending.
As you rest with this vision, you begin to feel less like an observer and more like a thread. Your life, your thoughts, your body are all woven into the fabric of reality. You are not on the outside looking in. You are inside, inseparable from the whole. Every breath you take, every beat of your heart, unfolds on the same cloth that carries galaxies, stars, and light. And if space is a fabric, then dark energy is its hidden weaver. You cannot see its hand, but you see its work. You see the galaxies drifting. You see the light stretched into red. You see the distances growing wider. The loom is quiet, but its threads sing with tension, carrying the rhythm of expansion into every corner of the cosmos. This truth, though vast, is not cold. It is soft, like the sheet beneath you at night, like the comfort of knowing you are held. The universe is not empty. It is woven. It carries you, always. And yet, this fabric is not stretching at a constant pace. It is not steady like a metronome. It is speeding up, rushing outward more quickly with time, as though the loom itself is tightening, urging the threads farther apart. This deepens the mystery and draws you toward the next question. Why does the expansion not slow but accelerate? The fabric holds you, stretches beneath you, and carries you outward. Yet the cloth does not relax with time. It hastens, pulling faster, as if the loom itself is eager. And so you drift into the mystery of acceleration, where the universe begins to rush. For much of human history, the universe was imagined as steady, perhaps eternal, a stage where the stars held their places, where galaxies turned slowly but remained fixed in their distance. Later, when expansion was discovered, another picture replaced it. The cosmos was not frozen, but moving outward like a ball rising into the air. And if that image were true, then gravity, patient and tireless, would one day slow it down. Imagine tossing a ball up. At first it soars quickly, then it begins to lose speed. Gravity pulls at it, gently but persistently, until eventually the ball slows, stops, and returns. For many decades, scientists assumed the same would happen to the universe. It had been thrown outward in the great explosion of its beginning, and though it might expand for billions of years, gravity's tug would gradually slow the motion. Perhaps in the far future, the expansion would even halt. But when astronomers looked more closely, guided by the candles of distant supernovae, they discovered something astonishing. The ball had not slowed, it had quickened. The galaxies were not just drifting farther apart, they were fleeing faster, their retreat accelerating with time. It was as though the universe had decided not to tire, not to fall back, but to surge outward with growing urgency. You pause to let this thought sink in. A ball speeding up as it rises defies intuition. It defies the simple rhythm of gravity. Yet the universe does exactly this. Its expansion is not slowing but rushing, as though an invisible hand continues to press, stronger with each passing moment. Picture again the galaxies as lanterns on a dark pond. At first they drift gently apart on the rippling water. You might expect the ripples to calm, the drift to slow.
but instead the lanterns move more quickly, sliding away as though a hidden current pushes harder with each passing minute. The pond is restless, the lanterns hurry, and you, floating among them, are carried outward too. This revelation changed everything, for it meant that the universe was not only expanding, it was doing so with an energy no one had foreseen. Gravity, the ancient companion, was not winning. Something else was at play, something stronger on vast scales, something woven into the fabric of existence. That something was given a name: dark energy. Dark energy does not blaze or roar. You cannot see it in the stars, cannot feel it in your body, but its work is written across the sky. The redshift of galaxies deepens, their light stretched thinner as space grows faster between them. Each candle, each supernova, tells the same story: acceleration, not slowing. There is a strange poetry in this. The universe, born from an eruption of unimaginable energy, was expected to calm with age, like fire cooling to embers. Instead it races faster, as though unwilling to rest, as though time itself is impatient. You live within this rushing, though you do not feel it underfoot. It is too grand, too slow for the span of one life, and yet it is there, carrying you, carrying everything. Consider how this acceleration feels, not like a storm or a sudden rush, but like a tide that swells stronger the farther it flows. At first gentle, then undeniable. You are carried on that tide, your galaxy sailing outward, stars drifting farther from their companion. The night sky may look unchanged to your eyes, but deep time reveals the truth. The stars grow lonelier, the distances stretch, the silence widens. You breathe in, and for a moment you imagine you are breathing with the cosmos itself, each inhale slower, each exhale stronger. Expansion is the universe's breath, and acceleration is the deepening of that breath, the steady commitment to stretch farther still. Scientists describe it in careful words, in equations that map how quickly galaxies recede. But you can imagine it more simply, more softly. The universe is like a fabric pulled not only outward, but with increasing tension, the loom tightening its weave. What once expanded slowly now stretches more quickly, threads sliding faster as the cloth grows wider. This acceleration raises questions as deep as the cosmos itself. Why does the universe hasten outward? What is dark energy, truly? Is it a constant pressure woven into space, steady but relentless? Or is it something that changes with time, a force that grows stronger as the universe grows larger? The answers are not known, but the effect is undeniable. Acceleration is real, written in light across billions of years. You rest with this mystery, and it comforts you in an unexpected way, for even as the universe rushes outward, you are not lost. You are part of the same tide, part of the same acceleration. The galaxies flee, but they flee together, carried by the same invisible breath. You are not separate from this motion, you are included in it. It is easy to imagine impatience here, as if the universe has grown restless and cannot wait. But perhaps it is not impatience, but rhythm. Perhaps the acceleration is simply another verse in the cosmos's song, a verse you are only now beginning to hear. Close your eyes and picture this song. The first verse was silence, broken by a beginning. The second was expansion, a slow outward drift. And now comes the third, acceleration, the rising of the melody, the swelling of the tide. You do not know how the song will end, but you are listening, carried within its notes. The night sky above you seems unchanged, steady and calm, yet now, with this thought, it feels alive, in motion, surging outward with unseen urgency. You lie beneath it, feeling the rhythm of acceleration, the quiet speed of the cosmos. And as you rest in this awareness, another thought begins to form. If light carries the memory of acceleration, if galaxies reveal their flight through the stretching of their glow, then perhaps light itself is more than a messenger. Perhaps it is the language of the universe, the diary in which expansion is written. The galaxies rush outward, their speed increasing with every breath of time, and in the beams of their light lies the record of this acceleration, a language waiting to be.
Light has always been your companion. It greets you each morning when the sun spills across the horizon. It glimmers from the stars that soften the night. It reflects in the eyes of those you love. But light is more than comfort, more than vision. It is the language of the universe, the diary in which time writes its story. Every beam of light is a messenger. It travels across the silence of space, carrying memory within it. When you look at a star, you do not see it as it is now. You see it as it once was, the moment its light first began its journey toward you. A star that shines 10 light-years away shows you a picture from 10 years ago. A galaxy a million light-years away shows you an image. A million years. To see is always to look backward, to read a page already written. In this way, the sky is not only above you, it is a library. Each star is a book, each ray of light a sentence. Some volumes are recent, written in the ink of nearby suns. Others are ancient, etched by galaxies that burned long before Earth was born. And when astronomers open these pages, they find not just brightness, but detail. They find the fingerprints of creation itself. Imagine a prism, held in sunlight. The beam splits into colors, each shade telling you something new. In the same way, the universe splits its beams, each ray revealing the secrets of its source. Scientists call this spectroscopy, but you can think of it more simply. Light sings, and in its song are harmonies that tell of temperature, composition, and distance. When a star burns, its atoms leave marks in the light it emits. These marks are like notes missing from a melody, dark lines cutting through a rainbow spectrum. By studying these lines, astronomers learn what the star is made of. Hydrogen, helium, carbon, oxygen. Light becomes a translator, revealing what your eyes cannot see. But light carries more than chemistry, it carries motion. Just as the pitch of a siren changes as it rushes past you, so too does light shift when a star or galaxy moves. If it approaches, its light compresses into shorter waves, a blue shift. If it retreats, its light stretches into longer waves, a red shift. The cosmos speaks through this stretching, telling you which galaxies come near, which drift away. It was through this language that astronomers first uncovered the great expansion. They looked at distant galaxies, measured the shift of their light, and realized that most were fleeing. Their glow stretched toward red. The farther away the galaxy, the greater the stretch, the faster the retreat. The diary of light told a story of motion, of widening space, of the universe refusing to stand still. And when they looked deeper still, they saw something even stranger. The stretching was greater than expected. The pages of the diary revealed acceleration, the galaxies not just drifting but rushing faster with distance. Light, delicate and ancient, had carried within it the whisper of dark energy, not directly, not in brightness, but in the subtle lengthening of its weight. You imagine this stretching like music slowed down. A violin string pulled taut sings a high note. Stretch the string longer, and the note deepens. Light is like that string. As space stretches, the light traveling through it is drawn thinner, its color sliding toward red, its note lowered. Each ray becomes softer, gentler, like a song played in slow motion. Every night sky is filled with this softened music. You cannot hear it, but it sings to you nonetheless. Galaxies hum their departure, stars whisper their births and deaths. Space itself hums its stretch. If you could listen with instruments fine enough, you would hear the universe as a symphony, each wavelength a note, each photon a tone, each spectrum a chord in the cosmic song. This symphony is not chaotic, it is ordered, structured, full of meaning. To astronomers, each pattern of light is like a sentence in a long and patient diary. By reading these patterns, they piece together the history of the cosmos, when stars formed, how galaxies grew, when expansion accelerated. Light is memory, written in wavelengths, carried across eons. It is comforting to think that even in silence, nothing is truly lost. The birth of a star echoes across time. The death of a sun leaves traces in the beams it once cast. Galaxies long gone still shine in your sky, their light only now arrives. In the language of light, nothing vanishes completely. It lingers, written in a book that never closes. And you too are a reader of this diary. Each time you look upward, you glimpse words written long ago. You may not decipher them as astronomers do, but you feel their weight. You sense the patience of light, the endurance of its journey. The trust that even across billions of years its message will arrive. You lie back and imagine the universe writing in light. Stars burn and send their ink outward. Galaxies drift and mark their pace in stretched notes. Space itself expands, pulling every letter longer, every word softer, and here you are, on a quiet planet, turning the pages, reading by starlight. Yet as you drift deeper into this vision, another thought arises. Light reveals much, but it does not reveal everything. It tells you of motion, of chemistry, of distance. It tells you of expansion and acceleration, but even in its detail, it cannot show you the whole. Beyond light, there are horizons you cannot see, places from which no message can reach you. The diary of light is vast, its pages glowing across the night, but beyond its reach lies a silence deeper still, horizons where even light cannot travel, boundaries that define how far you can see. Close your eyes and imagine yourself floating on an endless ocean. The water is calm, wide, stretching farther than your vision can reach. There is no horizon that ends it, no shoreline to break its stillness. You are adrift, surrounded by silence, carried on a tide you cannot resist. This ocean is the universe itself, a sea without edges, without boundaries, without end. The galaxies around you become ships on this sea. Some are near, glowing lanterns with sails of stars. Others are distant, faint vessels drifting like ghosts upon the dark. None of them steer themselves. They do not row. They do not sail by will. Instead, they are carried by the invisible tide of expansion, rocked gently yet persistently apart. You drift with them. The Milky Way, your own ship, sails outward too. You may not feel the current beneath your feet, but it moves you nonetheless. The tide of the cosmos is not like earthly waters. It has no waves, no foam, no sound. It is the quiet push of dark energy, a current that runs everywhere, carrying every ship away from every other. Imagine watching two vessels on this sea. At first they are close together, lanterns bright against the night, but as time passes, the water between them grows. They do not row apart. The sea itself swells, stretching, making the distance wider. That is how galaxies move in the universe. They are not sailing away through space. They are carried apart because space itself expands, like the ocean rising between their hulls.
You pause and let this vision settle. There is comfort in imagining the cosmos as an ocean. Its surface is smooth, its current steady, its tide patient. You are not tossed or thrown. You are cradled. Dark energy does not rage. It whispers. It does not crash. It swells. The ships glide apart gently, endlessly, rocked on an invisible current. Scientists read this ocean through the light of distant galaxies. They watch the ships drift, measure the swell of water between them, and trace the pull of the unseen tide. What they find is astonishing. The tide is not constant. It grows stronger with time. The farther the ships drift, the faster they move apart. The current deepens, rushing more quickly with every breath of the cosmos. And yet, though it grows, it does not feel violent. The expansion does not tear ships to pieces. It does not capsize galaxies or drown stars. It is more like the rising of a tide that has no shore, a steady widening of space that carries everything gently outward. Picture yourself lying on your back upon this sea. Above you, the stars shimmer like lanterns reflected on water. Beneath you, the tide moves unseen, lifting you with every patient swell. You are safe, buoyed by the current. You cannot resist it, but you need not fear it. You are part of it, inseparable from the motion of the sea. There is something deeply soothing in this thought. On Earth, oceans end at shorelines. Rivers find banks. Lakes have edges. But the cosmic ocean has no shore. You cannot reach its edge, for there is none. Wherever you go, the water continues. The tide carries. The sea remains. This endlessness may sound overwhelming, but when you rest in it, you find peace. To be carried is not to be lost. To be adrift is not to be abandoned. Astronomers call this image the cosmological principle. On the largest scales, the universe is the same in every direction, the same at every place. No shore, no privileged center, no single ship with a special claim. Every galaxy is carried, every vessel drifts, every lantern sails on the same tide. You are not at the middle.
but you are not at the edge either. You are simply part of the sea. This sea without shore is not empty. It is alive with currents of dark energy, shaping the distances, dictating the rhythm of the drift. Though unseen, these currents reveal themselves in patterns. The farther a galaxy ship lies, the faster it drifts away. The deeper into the ocean you look, the stronger the tide appears. The cosmos hums with this law, as steady as the heartbeat of the sea, and yet no sailor could dip their hand into this tide. You cannot scoop dark energy into a vessel, cannot watch it ripple with your eyes. It is not water, not wind, not substance. It is woven into space itself, inseparable from the sea it moves. It is not something on the ocean, it is the ocean. You let this realization unfold within you. All the stars you see, all the galaxies drifting, are lanterns sailing on a tide of nothingness made into something. The water is invisible, but the ships prove it is there. Their motion tells you what your senses cannot. In their retreat, you hear the whisper of the tide. It is humbling, this thought, that you drift upon a sea without shore, carried by a current you cannot feel. And yet there is comfort. The ocean has no storms, no tempests. Its motion is steady, predictable, gentle. It widens your world not by tearing it apart, but by stretching it open, giving more room, more distance, more silence. And as you drift on this vision, another thought begins to form. If the universe is an endless sea, then perhaps its laws can be written, measured, and sung like the rhythm of waves. Perhaps beneath the drift of ships and the swell of tides, there is an equation, a quiet mathematics that captures the balance of expansion. You float on the cosmic ocean, carried outward by tides without shore. Yet in the stillness of this sea lies a hidden rhythm, a language of numbers that measures the widening of space. The night sky feels infinite, yet when you gaze upward, you rely only on your sense. You see stars, you feel awe, you imagine distance, but human senses alone cannot hold the universe. To reach further, to truly understand the rhythm of expansion, you must enter the realm of numbers, symbols that hold truth too vast for the eye. Equations may seem cold at first, rigid and abstract, but when you listen carefully, you hear something gentler. Equations are not cages, they are songs, they are lines of rhythm, carrying harmony across the silence of space. With symbols, humanity gave language to the cosmos, a way to describe what cannot be touched, what cannot be heard, what cannot be seen. It began with Albert Einstein. In the early 20th century, he reshaped how space and time were understood. His general theory of relativity revealed that space was not rigid emptiness, but a fabric that could bend, curve, and stretch. Gravity, he showed, was not a mysterious invisible force pulling objects together. It was the shape of space-time itself, curving around stars and planets, guiding them in their paths. Einstein wrote this vision into an equation, GE8PGTZ. Each letter stood for something profound: geometry, energy, matter, the constants that tie existence together. To most it was an unreadable script, but within it was poetry, the poetry of curves and motion, the story of how the universe holds itself. Yet this equation carried more than elegance. It carried a riddle, for when Einstein solved it, he found that the universe could not remain still. His equations suggested it must either expand or contract. The fabric could not simply sit in silence. It had to move, to breathe. At first Einstein resisted. The idea of a changing universe was too strange, too disruptive. He added a term, the cosmological constant, to balance the equation, to force the universe into stillness. But later discoveries revealed that the universe was indeed expanding. Einstein's fix was unnecessary. And yet, in time, it returned as the very symbol of dark energy. You let this story sink in. An equation that began as resistance to change became the key to explaining the greatest change of all, the acceleration of the cosmos. Numbers, quiet and precise, had whispered the truth long before telescopes confirmed it.
Other mathematicians followed, weaving more equations into the tapestry. Alexander Friedmann and Georges Lemaitre expanded on Einstein's work, crafting formulas that described the growing universe. Their equations, now called the Friedmann equations, showed how expansion unfolds, how matter slows it down, how energy pushes it onward, how curvature shapes its destiny. These formulas became maps,
charts of the cosmos not in ink but in mathematics. Think of them as sheet music for the universe. Each term is a note, each constant a rhythm. The equation does not play the song itself, but it tells you how the song must sound. With mathematics, astronomers can look at the past and imagine the future, predicting how the universe swells, how galaxies drift, how time itself will stretch. You rest within this rhythm. Though you may not hold the equations in your mind, you can feel their presence. They are not separate from you. The same mathematics that guides galaxies also guides your breath, your heartbeat, your world. Gravity that bends space-time around stars also bends it around you. Energy that stretches galaxies apart also hums in the empty spaces between atoms. Picture the cosmos as a grand orchestra. Each galaxy is an instrument, each star a note. On their own, the sounds might seem scattered, random, but beneath them lies a score, a written harmony, the equations ensuring that the song flows together. You are not outside this music, you are within it, listening, breathing, part of its resonance. Equations do not erase mystery, they deepen. For even as they describe how expansion unfolds, they do not yet tell you why. Why does dark energy press outward? Why does matter bend space as it does? The symbols give you the structure, but not the and yet, even without answers, there is peace in knowing that order exists, that the universe is not chaos but harmony, written in numbers. You breathe slowly, and the thought soothes. The same equations that describe galaxies also describe the arc of a falling stone, the orbit of the moon, the pull you feel standing on Earth. The vast and the intimate are tied together, both written in the same language. You are cradled by patterns larger than yourself, yet not separate from yourself. Close your eyes and imagine space unfolding like a song. Expansion is not a random scattering, but a melody, each measure following from the last. Dark energy is part of this score, woven into the music, stretching the tempo, quickening the rhythm. You lie within the song, carried by its notes, woven into its sheet. And as you drift deeper, you begin to wonder, if equations describe the universe so beautifully, what other secrets might they hold? What hidden constants, what forgotten symbols, might reveal the mysteries still unseen? One such symbol already waits in the margins of history, a constant once dismissed, later reborn, carrying with it the whisper of eternity. The universe hums in equations, its expansion written like music on a page. But among these symbols lies a constant, once thought a mistake, now returned as a clue, a forgotten number, with the power to explain the push of dark energy. There are moments in science when the greatest minds stumble, when even brilliance hesitates before mystery. You imagine Albert Einstein, bent over his desk, his equations spread before him like a map of the cosmos. His general theory of relativity had reshaped how the world understood space and time. Yet when he followed his own mathematics, they led him somewhere he did not want to go. The equations told him the universe could not be static. They whispered that space must either expand or contract, that the cosmic fabric could not sit forever unchanged. But in Einstein's time, the belief in a steady universe was strong, almost unshakable. The heavens, people thought, were eternal, stars fixed in their places, galaxies unchanging. Expansion seemed too wild, too unsettling. So Einstein made a choice. He inserted a new term into his equations, a small, elegant number he called the cosmological constant. With it he could balance the forces of gravity, ensuring the universe stayed perfectly still. The constant acted like a gentle pressure, countering gravity's pull, keeping the fabric of space suspended in equilibrium. For a while this satisfied him. The equations matched the belief in a steady cosmos. The map of the universe looked complete. But then, the discoveries came. Astronomers, measuring galaxies and their light, found the universe was not static at all. It was expanding. The galaxies were drifting apart. Space was stretched. Suddenly, Einstein's cosmological constant seemed unnecessary, an artificial fix to preserve a vision that was never real. He set the number aside, calling it his greatest blunder. You pause here and imagine how strange it must feel to see your own mathematics suggest a truth, to resist it, to erase it, only to discover later that the truth was real after all. And stranger still, that the very number you dismissed would return decades later, not as a mistake, but as the key to one of the greatest mysteries of all. For the cosmological constant was not forgotten. When scientists in the late 20th century discovered that the universe's expansion was accelerating, they needed a way to describe the force behind it. What could be pressing outward, stronger than gravity, woven into the fabric of space? And there, waiting quietly in the history of equations, was Einstein's constant. The same number he abandoned became the perfect symbol for dark energy, a steady pressure, faint but everywhere, urging the universe wider. You let this thought linger, a mistake transformed into truth, a number, once dismissed, reborn as the signature of a hidden force. It is as if the universe itself left a clue in the margins, waiting patiently for humanity to turn back and read it again. The cosmological constant is simple in appearance, a single letter, the Greek symbol L, written like an inverted V. Yet behind this symbol lies the whisper of eternity. It represents energy woven into empty space, pressure that does not fade, a hand that continues to stretch the cosmos. Unlike matter, which thins as it spreads, this constant does not diminish. It is steady, persistent, endless.
Picture yourself lying on the fabric of space, the threads stretched beneath you, gravity tugs, pulling the cloth inward, curving it around stars and galaxies. But the constant presses outward, a faint and patient push that never weakens. Over billions of years its persistence triumphs. The expansion grows faster, galaxies drift farther, the night sky empties slowly, lanterns sailing into darkness. There is something soothing in the idea of a constant. Amid the flux of stars and the chaos of change, there is a number that does not waver, a quiet hand guiding the cosmos, steady as breath, endless as time. You cannot feel it, but you rest within it. You are carried by its rhythm, like a child rocked by invisible arms. And yet, the mystery deepens. What is the cosmological constant truly? Is it an energy built into the vacuum itself, the hum of existence that cannot be silenced? Or is it only a placeholder, a symbol for something deeper still, a force not yet understood? The equations accept it, but the universe does not yet reveal its essence. You are left with a letter, a symbol, and a mystery vast enough to cradle galaxies. You breathe in, slowly, and feel the comfort of knowing that even mistakes can lead to truth, that what is dismissed may return with new meaning, that even in science, as in life, the forgotten can become essential. Einstein's constant, once erased, now frames the story of dark energy, a reminder that the universe often circles back, bringing wisdom from what was once overlooked. You drift in this reflection, imagining equations not as cold, but as living. They bend, they adapt, they reveal more with time. They do not stay frozen, any more than the universe does. Even mathematics grows, reshaped by new discovery. The constant, once hidden, now sings as part of the score. Above you, the stars continue their silent drift, carried on the tide of expansion. Their retreat is written in light, but the cause is written in symbols. Layer, small, simple, enduring, a letter, yet also a presence, woven into the universe itself. And as you rest beneath this thought, another question begins to form. If the cosmological constant is real, then it is everywhere, filling even the space around you. The air you breathe, the silence between atoms, the emptiness between stars, all cradled by this constant presence. And if it is everywhere, then where does its reach end? What lies beyond the horizon, where even light cannot travel? The forgotten constant returns, steady as a whisper, stretching the fabric of space. Yet its reach does not stop where your eyes end. Beyond the horizon of vision, the constant works still, shaping a universe you cannot see. When you look into the night sky, it feels infinite. The stars shimmer without end, their patterns scattered across the dark. Yet even infinity has a limit, not of space itself, but of what you can see. Your vision, even aided by the most powerful telescopes, reaches only so far. Beyond that distance lies the horizon of the universe, a boundary not made of walls but of light and time. This horizon is called the observable universe. It is defined not by what exists, but by what has had enough time to send its light to you. Light, though fast beyond imagining,
still has a limit. It can only travel so far in a given span of time. Since the universe has a beginning, light from beyond a certain distance has not yet arrived. It is still on its way, crossing an ocean too wide, carried on a journey not yet finished. Imagine standing on a beach at dawn. The sea stretches endlessly, but a fog rests over the water. You cannot see the distant ships beyond the mist, though you know they are there. The horizon hides them from your eyes. The cosmos is like this. Galaxies beyond a certain distance remain veiled, not because they do not exist, but because their light has not reached you yet. The fog is time itself, and light is still traveling through it. You rest in this thought, that every starlit night is both presence and absence. What you see are ancient lanterns, whose beams have completed their long voyage. What you cannot see are countless others, waiting beyond the horizon, silent but real. You are enclosed not by emptiness, but by patience. The unseen is simply waiting to arrive. Yet there is another truth, one more humbling still. Some galaxies are not only hidden by distance, they are retreating so quickly, carried by the expansion of space, that their light will never reach you. The ocean between you and them stretches faster than their beams can cross. Their lanterns glow, but their glow is trapped, forever outpaced by the tide of expansion. These galaxies drift into eternal silence, unreachable, unseen. Dark energy works there too, in those unreachable distances. It pushes even the hidden realms outward, hastening their retreat. The horizon is not, it is always shifting, always reshaping, always redrawn by the quiet hand of expansion. What you see today is more than yesterday, but less than tomorrow, and yet there will always be more beyond reach. Horizons beyond horizons. Picture yourself standing at the edge of this cosmic shore. Before you stretches not water, but light. Every beam is a wave that has traveled for billions of years to meet your eyes. Behind it lies darkness, not empty but unlit, a sea of galaxies that your gaze cannot pierce. The horizon glows faintly like the edge of dawn. Beyond it, silence stretches, filled with the unseen. Astronomers have measured this boundary. The observable universe extends about 46 billion light-years in every direction. That number alone feels impossible, a scale too large for your mind to hold. And yet, even this vastness is only the visible part. Beyond it, the universe continues. The ocean does not end at the horizon. It goes on, shoreless, endless, perhaps infinite. There is a calmness in accepting this. You do not need to see all things to know they are there. You do not need to grasp every distance to trust in their existence. The universe is larger than vision, larger than measurement, larger than thought, and you, small as you may feel, are included within its weave. Close your eyes now, and sense the horizons without needing to see them. Feel the presence of galaxies beyond sight, stars whose light has not yet begun to shine upon you. Imagine their lanterns glowing silently in the distance, carried away by dark energy's tide. They are part of your universe, even if they remain forever hidden.
It is humbling to know that you live inside a bubble of vision, a sphere of light about you. Yet, this bubble does not diminish the cosmos. Instead, it makes it more wondrous. For each horizon reached is also a reminder that there is more, always more, waiting beyond. Each night sky becomes not an end, but a beginning. You breathe and the thought deepens. Just as the horizon of Earth's sea bends away from you, hiding distant lands, so too does the cosmic horizon curve beyond your view. Beyond it may lie galaxies greater than any you know, clusters larger than imagination, patterns of matter, ensign, perhaps even mysteries stranger than dark energy itself. And though your eyes cannot pierce it, your imagination can drift across it. You can sense the expanse, feel the widening, trust the hidden. Beyond sight lies possibility, and in that possibility, comfort. The unseen does not diminish your place in the cosmos, it expands it, reminding you that you belong to something vaster than you can ever fully behold. Dark energy continues its work, pulling even the invisible farther away. It stretches not only what you see but also what you cannot. The tide does not discriminate. Every ship, seen and unseen, drifts with the current. Every lantern, bright or hidden,
is carried on the same expanding sea. You linger on this vision, a universe without end, horizons without finality. To live within it is to rest in both presence and absence, to gaze at stars while knowing there are infinitely more you will never see. It is to dwell in wonder, to accept mystery, to be cradled by silence, as much as by light. And as you rest with this thought, another question begins to form. If galaxies drift endlessly, like leaves on a widening pond, then perhaps they are not only scattered, but scattered with beauty. Perhaps their dispersal is not random, but patterned, like autumn leaves carried by the wind. The horizon fades into silence, hiding galaxies you will never see. Yet even the ones you glimpse drift apart, scattered across space like leaves upon water, carried by the widening tide. Imagine standing by a quiet pond in autumn. The surface is smooth, reflecting the pale light of the sky. A breeze arrives, gentle, steady, and fallen leaves drift across the water. Some spin in place, circling one another, caught in small edges. Others slide apart, gliding outward until the surface is wide and empty again. This is the image of galaxies in the universe. They do not march in rigid formation. They do not obey a drumbeat or march in lines. They drift, softly and silently, like autumn leaves on a pond. The water is the fabric of space itself. The breeze that scatters them is dark energy, invisible yet persistent, whispering across the cosmos and carrying galaxies away from one another. You live inside this scattering. Your own galaxy, the Milky Way, is one of those drifting leaves. Around you, billions of other galaxies spread outward, their lanterns glowing faintly in the cosmic dark. Some are bound together, held close by gravity, spinning like leaves caught in the same whirl. Clusters and superclusters form these gatherings, knots of galaxies that resist the dispersal for a while. But even so, the distances grow. The pond stretches, the breeze never stops. Close your eyes and imagine the slow dispersal. Galaxies that once burned closer now slide farther apart. 1 billion years passes, and the gap widens. Another billion, and the lanterns grow fainter in the distance. The sky above future observers will not look like yours. It will hold fewer lights, fewer neighbors. The leaves will have scattered too widely to see in their fullness. There is something both tender and melancholic in this thought. The universe is not collapsing into itself, but unraveling, gently, like a dance that drifts toward stillness. Each galaxy holds its own stars, its own stories, its own suns and worlds. Yet on the larger scales they part ways, never to meet again. And yet within clusters, galaxies remain companions. Gravity binds them close, stronger than the distant push of dark energy at those smaller scales. The Milky Way itself belongs to one such family, the local group. Here, galaxies stay gathered, circling one another like siblings around a shared home. The Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy are bound to meet in billions of years, merging into one grand spiral or elliptical form. The leaves here do not drift apart. They collide, reshape, and continue together. You let this dual image settle, scattering and gathering, dispersal and union. The universe holds both truths at once. On the widest scales, galaxies drift apart, pulled away by the invisible breeze. But within smaller harbors, gravity still keeps them close. The leaves on the pond drift outward, yes, but some cluster at the edges, gathering into small rafts, holding each other even as the water widens. There is comfort in knowing that not all bonds dissolve. Even in a universe of dispersal, there are families of galaxies, constellations of companionship that endure. Yet the overall motion is clear: separation, distance, silence. The universe, carried by dark energy, grows more and more sparse with each passing age. You breathe with this rhythm, and it feels familiar. For in your own life too there is dispersal and gathering. People drift apart, like galaxies carried by tides beyond their control. Yet others remain near, bound by gravity stronger than time. The cosmos and the human heart follow similar patterns. Scattering and closeness, both are woven into existence. Imagine now looking down upon the pond from above. The leaves scatter, but not randomly. They form gentle patterns, arcs and streams,
like the cosmic web traced by galaxies in space. From afar, the universe looks like lace, filaments of galaxies strung together, separated by vast dark voids. Even as dark energy scatters them, the structure remains, delicate and beautiful. You are part of this lace. Your galaxy lies upon one of its threads, a glowing bead on a filament that stretches millions of light years. The pond is not featureless. It is alive with design, and dark energy is the breath that moves it, scattering the leaves wider, stretching the lace into finer strands. This thought is not cold but calming. The dispersal is not violent. It is not sudden. It is slow, patient, inevitable. The leaves drift outward over billions of years, giving life and stars their time, allowing wonder to arise before the lanterns fade. You rest in this gentleness, rocked by the awareness that you too are drifting, carried on the same breath as every galaxy. But a question lingers quietly. If everything drifts apart, what happens when the leaves are too far to see one another? What happens when the pond grows so wide that each ship of stars sails in solitude, surrounded only by its own faint light? The image deepens into the future, a cosmos of silence, where expansion carries galaxies so far apart that they vanish from each other's sky. The leaves scatter wider, galaxies drifting slowly apart across the widening pond, and in that dispersal lies a hint of tomorrow, a universe where the lanterns grow fewer and silence begins to take their place. Close your eyes and let yourself drift forward in time. Not centuries, not millennia, but billions of years. The universe continues its gentle widening. Dark energy, steady and quiet, presses outward, stretching the threads of space. Galaxies that today fill the night with distant light will slip farther and farther away. Slowly, the stars that once crowded the sky will become fewer, their lanterns scattered too far to see. Picture the sky of the far future. It is darker, emptier. The Milky Way itself has merged with its neighbor, the Andromeda galaxy, forming one great island of stars. Yet beyond this single island, all other galaxies drift away, carried too far by expansion. Their light, stretched thinner and thinner, no longer reaches across the widening sea. For future observers, the universe will seem smaller, lonelier, though it is in truth vaster than ever.
This future silence is not violent. It is not the sudden collapse of worlds or the fiery destruction of galaxies. It is quieter than that. It is the hush of distance, the slow fading of voices as companions walk farther apart. The universe does not shout its ending. It whispers it through the steady dispersal of light into darkness. And yet, stars will still burn for a while. Within your galaxy, suns will continue to shine. Planets will still orbit, and life, in whatever form it may take, will still look upward and wonder. But even those suns are temporary. Like candles, each will exhaust its fuel, flaring brightly at the end before cooling into embers. One by one, the lights of the galaxy will dim. Imagine walking through a forest in autumn, lanterns hung from the trees. One by one, they are extinguished, until only a few remain glowing faintly. The silence deepens, not because the forest vanishes, but because the lights no longer guide your eyes. The cosmic night will be the same. The stars will burn out gradually, and the sky will surrender its brilliance. Over unimaginable spans of time, only faint remnants will remain. The glow of dying stars, the quiet hum of black dwarfs, the occasional flare of matter falling into black holes. The universe will not end in sudden darkness, but in a long, slow dimming, like embers cooling in a vast hearth. Dark energy will continue its work, pulling the islands of matter farther apart, scattering them across an ocean too wide to cross. There is a melancholy beauty in this vision. The cosmos, so full of light now, will one day rest in quiet. The stars that once told stories to human eyes will fade, and the constellations will dissolve into memory. The universe will not collapse, but expand into loneliness. Not cruel, not harsh, only inevitable. Dark energy does not rage. It does not destroy. It sculpts with patience, shaping the destiny of everything, guiding the universe towards silence. And yet, silence is not emptiness. Even in that distant age, the universe will remain,
space will stretch, matter will linger, energy will hum in the background. The cosmic fabric will continue, even if the lanterns upon it fade. The sea is never gone, only stilled. You rest in this thought, that endings are not always sudden. Sometimes they are gradual, quiet, unhurried. The universe, like a symphony, will not stop with a clash of sound, but will fade into silence, each note drifting softer until only stillness remains. For now you are far from that future. The sky above you is full, alive with countless stars. Galaxies still shine, their light reaching you across billions of years. You live in a moment when the cosmos still sings brightly, when its diary of light is still open, when its lanterns still guide your gaze. To imagine the silence ahead is not to diminish the present. It is to treasure it, to marvel at the abundance of light while it remains. You breathe slowly and feel the rhythm of this truth. Every flame, no matter how bright, has its span. Every life, every star, every galaxy follows this gentle arc. Birth, brilliance, fade. The universe itself is no different. Dark energy ensures that the story will end, not in collapse, but in dispersal, a widening so vast that silence will settle as the final note. But silence need not be feared. It is simply another form of rest. Just as you, at the end of each day, surrender to quiet, so too will the universe surrender to stillness. And in that stillness lies beauty. Not destruction, but peace. You let this thought cradle you, soothing rather than sorrowful. The stars will not burn forever, but while they do, they offer wonder, warmth, and light. Their fading is part of the rhythm of existence, as natural as the rise and fall of breath. And as you rest within this reflection, a new question begins to form. If the stars will fade and the galaxies drift into silence, what becomes of the fabric they leave behind? What remains of space-time itself, once the lanterns are gone? The stars will dim, the galaxies will scatter, and the universe will fall into a future of silence. Yet even then, the fabric of space remains, endless, stretched, waiting, holding mysteries of its own. You drift now into thoughts of the farthest future, to a time so distant it stretches imagination. The stars above you are temporary companions, and even galaxies themselves are not forever. Dark energy, the invisible breath of expansion, will decide the universe's destiny, and though no one knows for certain what shape that destiny will take, scientists dream in possibilities. Each one is a lullaby of the cosmos, a vision of how the story may end. One such dream is called the Big Rip. Imagine dark energy not steady but restless, growing stronger with time. If its strength increases, its push would one day overwhelm every bond in the universe. First, galaxies would no longer hold together. Clusters of stars would drift apart, their gravity unable to resist the widening tide. Then, individual galaxies would unravel, their stars scattered into the deep dark. But the tearing would not stop there. Planets would slip from their sun. Stars themselves would be torn apart, their fire scattered like sparks into the night. Even atoms, the building blocks of matter, would no longer cling together. Protons and electrons would part ways, carried on currents too strong to resist. The fabric of existence itself would come undone. It is a frightening vision, yet strangely calm when seen across billions of years. The Big Rip does not roar like an explosion. It unravels quietly, a thread pulled loose, until the whole cloth dissolves. The universe does not shatter, it drifts into pieces too small to hold. But the Big Rip is only one dream. Another possibility is far gentler, the heat death of the universe. In this vision, dark energy remains steady, not growing stronger, but continuing its patient expansion. Galaxies drift beyond sight, stars burn out, and black holes swallow the remnants. Over trillions of years, matter decays, energy spreads thinner and thinner, until everything reaches the same quiet temperature. No hot, no cold, no light, no shadow, a uniform sea of stillness. This fate is not violent. It is more like a candle left to burn until the wick is gone. The universe does not tear, it rests. Its story ends not with a crash but with silence, not with fire but with a sigh. There are other whispers too. Some imagine the big crunch, a reversal of expansion. If dark energy were to weaken or change, gravity might reclaim its dominance, pulling galaxies back together. The universe would shrink instead of swell, folding inward until all matter and energy collapse into a final blade. In this dream, the cosmos does not end but cycles, perhaps reborn in another beginning. Others speak of the Big Bounce, where collapse leads to a new expansion, a new universe rising from the ashes of the old. In this vision, existence is not one story but many, a rhythm of beginnings and endings, each universe a verse in an infinite poem.
You rest with these possibilities, letting them pass over you like waves. The big rip, the heat death, the crunch, the bounce. Each is a way of imagining the unknown, a way of giving shape to the silence of the future. None are. Each arises from the same hidden hand, dark energy, the invisible sculptor of fate. There is comfort in knowing that even the greatest rhymes cannot say for sure. The universe keeps its ending as a secret, a page not yet written. What you can know is that it will be shaped by the same forces that shape you now. The same expansion you feel in distant galaxies, the same dark energy that carries you outward, will guide the cosmos into its final chapter. You breathe slowly and this thought soothes you, for even endings are part of the rhythm. Whether the universe fades or tears, whether it bounces or burns, it follows the same pattern of birth, growth, and rest. You are part of that rhythm, living your moment within it. Imagine the universe as a great tree. It begins as a seed, expands into branches, and eventually, its leaves fall. Some trees grow for centuries, others for years, but all share the same cycle. The cosmos may be the same, expanding now, resting later, perhaps renewing again. Each possibility is natural, none cruel, none wrong. They are simply the songs of time, sung on scales too vast to hear fully. You let your thoughts drift to the big rip once more. The image of everything unraveling can feel unsettling, but even here, there is a kind of peace. If matter itself comes undone, then so too does every boundary, every barrier. The universe becomes pure motion, pure openness, a sea without structure. In its release, perhaps there is freedom. Then you return to the gentler dream, the slow fading, the cooling into stillness. In that vision the universe becomes like a vast night of rest. No pain, no tearing, no collapse, only silence, only balance, only peace. It is less an ending than a long exhale, the final breath of a cosmos that once blazed with stars. The truth, hidden as it is, may be something else entirely, something no theory has yet imagined, but this too is part of the wonder. Mystery is not a failure, but a companion. You do not need to know the final chapter to rest in the story now. The cosmos is beautiful even unfinished, perhaps especially so, and as you drift within this thought, another question rises. If the universe ends in silence, what becomes of you, of consciousness, of wonder, of the human spark that looks upward and up? The dreams of the universe's end unfold, rips, fades, bounces, and sighs. Yet beyond these visions lies a deeper mystery. What becomes of awareness itself when the stars go dark? The universe often feels far away, stars scattered across darkness, galaxies drifting at distances you cannot imagine. But when you pause and listen closely, you realize that its forces live within you. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are shaped by the same balance that governs stars, planets, and galaxies. The push and pull of the universe echoes in your breath, your heartbeat, your body. Begin with something simple, gravity. You feel it constant. It pulls you toward the earth, keeping your feet pressed to the ground, holding you in the planet's embrace. Without gravity, you would drift freely, untethered, like a leaf on the wind. With it, you are grounded, steady, safe. Gravity whispers always, come close. But if gravity were the only voice, you would collapse inward, drawn tight to the planet's core. Something else must answer that voice. In your body, it is pressure. The air in your lungs expands your chest with each breath. Your muscles resist collapse, holding your frame upright. Even the cells inside you live in balance. Pressure within them pushing outward against the pull that surrounds them. Without this constant balance, life could not continue. This is the same balance that keeps stars alive. Picture a star immense and burning. Gravity pulls its mass inward, pressing tighter and tighter, trying to collapse it into silence.
But deep within, nuclear fusion pushes back. The star's core burns, creating outward pressure that resists gravity's embrace. The star shines because of this balance. The pull inward and the push outward, perfectly matched. You live within that same tension. Your breath is your fusion, expanding against collapse. Inhale, and your lungs push outward, resisting gravity's hold. Exhale, and you surrender again to its embrace. The rhythm of breathing mirrors the rhythm of the stars. You are a small echo of their balance, a fragment of cosmic equilibrium. Even your heart beats with this same dialogue. Each contraction pulls blood inward. Each release pushes it outward. The balance between these motions sustains you, just as the balance between gravity and pressure sustains suns. The forces that hold galaxies in their spirals, that shape planets in their orbits, hum quietly within your own chest. Pause now and notice your posture. You sit or lie down, and though gravity presses upon you, you do not collapse. Your muscles, your bones, your breath, all resist, holding you in place. This is cosmic balance, lived in miniature. You are a star scaled down to human form, burning not with fusion, but with breath, with metabolism, with life's quiet fire.
It is humbling to think that the same forces guiding galaxies guide you. Stars balance their weight with fire, you balance yours with breath. Galaxies expand under dark energy while gravity shapes their clusters. You expand with each inhale while gravity holds you to the earth. The scales are different, but the dance is the same. Imagine now a tree, its roots reaching into the earth, while its branches rise toward the sky. Gravity pulls it downward, pressure within pushes it upward. The tree's growth is an act of balance, just as your standing body is, just as stars themselves are. Every living thing shares this cosmic rhythm. You are surrounded by echoes of balance, everywhere, in everything. And balance is not only physical, your thoughts too live in tension. Worries pull inward, pressing heavy. Hope pushes outward, expanding the mind. You live in the space between them, just as the universe lives between gravity and dark energy. Too much inward pull, and you collapse. Too much outward push, and you scatter. Life is a constant negotiation, a balance sustained moment by moment. There is comfort in this parallel, for when you feel the weight of gravity in your life, struggles pulling you down, you can remember that even stars live in tension. Their beauty comes not from escaping gravity, but from balancing it. Their shine is born from resistance, from holding both forces in harmony. And so it is with you. Close your eyes and breathe again. Inhale, expansion, outward push. Exhale, surrender, inward pull. Each cycle is a miniature universe. Each breath is a star, burning for one more moment in the balance. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are one of its notes, singing in the same rhythm. Even your atoms reveal this truth. Protons and electrons cling together, pulled inward by electromagnetic attraction. Yet the buzzing of electrons creates spacing, keeping atoms from collapsing entirely. Your body is built from balances on every scale, from galaxies to stars to cells to atoms. You are a harmony of tensions, a living mirror of the universe's equilibrium. And as you rest within this awareness, you begin to feel a kinship with the stars above you. Their light, traveling across space, is the outward breath of their struggle. Your own breath, quiet in the stillness of night, is an echo of theirs. You are not simply looking at the stars, you are living in the same story. The universe is not only out there, it is within you. Its forces shape you, sustain you, and breathe with you. Dark energy expands galaxies outward. Gravity holds them close. Pressure expands your lungs. Gravity presses you down. The balance is universal, eternal, shared. You drift in this thought, soothed by its symmetry. To be alive is to be balanced. Not perfectly, not forever, but enough for now. Stars do not burn forever, and neither will you. But while the balance lasts, there is light, there is warmth, there is wonder. And as you lie in this quiet reflection, another thought begins to form. If your body is an echo of the universe's balance, then perhaps your mind is too. Perhaps even your consciousness, the spark that wanders,
questions, dreams, is shaped by cosmic patterns, part of a larger harmony you cannot yet see. You breathe in balance, you live in balance, you are yet beyond the forces that shape your body lies another mystery, the balance of the mind itself, and whether consciousness too is written into the cosmos. You imagine yourself drifting high above Earth, where the air thins into silence. Around you, vast instruments point their eyes toward the stars. Some look like mirrors cupped in silver hands, gathering starlight across wide bowls. Others are radio dishes, great white petals, listening for whispers no human ear could catch. They are telescopes, each one an instrument, tuned not to sight alone, but to the language of the universe. To measure the invisible, you cannot look directly. Dark energy does not glow. It does not leave trails or cast shadow. Instead it hides, revealed only through what it does to galaxies, to light, to the shape of space itself. Astronomers measure the unseen by tracing its effects, the way a breeze is felt in the rippling of leaves. Though you cannot see the air itself, look at the sky as these instruments do. Galaxies are beads on an invisible thread, arranged not randomly, but in patterns. Some cluster into knots, some string into filaments, some leave voids between them like empty seas. This web is the architecture of the universe, a cosmic lace, stretching across billions of light years. And hidden within this lace is the fingerprint of dark energy. The telescopes map this web with patience. They record the positions of galaxies, each a lantern burning billions of years away. One by one, dots fill the maps, until the screen before you begins to look like constellations drawn not across your sky but across the entire universe. The more galaxies you trace, the clearer the pattern becomes. The beads are not scattered by chance, but shaped by the balance between gravity and expansion. It is here that dark energy reveals itself. For if the universe expanded only under gravity, the web would look different, tighter, more bound, like lace drawn closer. Instead, the strands are stretched, the voids wider. Dark energy's outward push has left its mark in the very spacing of galaxies. By measuring where each bead lies, astronomers measure the hand that scattered them. And they listen too, not only with mirrors but with ears. Radio telescopes trace the faint hum of hydrogen gas, the most ancient element, spread thin across the cosmos. The pattern of this hum carries memory of the universe's earliest days. It tells of how sound once rippled through the hot plasma after the Big Bang, like waves across a young sea. These ripples, frozen into the web of galaxies today, are called baryon acoustic oscillation. They are the fossils of sound itself, preserved in silence, measured now as signs of how fast the universe has stretched. You drift closer to these instruments, and you realize how delicate the work is. To measure the invisible, astronomers must read signals faint beyond imagining, light stretched over billions of years, radio hums softer than whispers. Each observation is a fragment, but together they weave a portrait of something too vast to hold in your mind. Picture dark energy as a painter, whose brush never touches the canvas directly. Instead, you see its work in the spacing of galaxies, the dimming of light, the way clusters lean against one another. The canvas is the universe, the brush invisible, the painting spread across time. Telescopes are the readers of this art, translating strokes you cannot see into patterns you can.
Even silence carries signals. The emptiness between galaxies is not nothing. It is structured, measured, recorded. The absence of light becomes as meaningful as its presence. By measuring what is not there, astronomers learn what is. The voids themselves tell of expansion, of the pressure that stretches space. It is humbling to realize how much patience is needed to measure dark energy. Scientists must wait for photons that left their galaxies billions of years ago. Every beam of light arriving tonight began its journey long before you were born, long before Earth itself existed. Each photon is a messenger from deep time, and telescopes are the jars that catch them as they fall. And still, the mystery persists. Measurements describe the effect of dark energy, but not its essence. You can see what it does, but not what it is. It is like watching ripples on water without ever seeing the stone that caused them. The ripples are real, measurable, predictable. The stone remains hidden. You let this thought soften you. For even without full understanding, the act of measuring is enough to bring wonder. You do not need to grasp the whole to marvel at the part. The universe leaves its traces, faint but clear, and humans have built eyes and ears large enough to read them. That, too, is a miracle. That fragile beings on a small planet can measure the breadth of the cosmos itself. Close your eyes and imagine yourself floating beside one of these great telescopes. Its mirror gleams in the starlight, its dish tilted toward the dark around you. Silence reigns, but the instrument hums with data, photons falling like rain, radio waves washing like tides. You are surrounded by messages too quiet for your senses, yet loud enough for machines built with care. Each signal adds to the map. Each map reveals more of the invisible hand. And as you drift here, you realize something else. The universe does not hide its secrets cruelly. It offers them gently, patiently, scattering them in patterns, in whispers, in faint glows of. The task is only to listen carefully, to measure slowly, to trust that meaning lies even in silence. You breathe in and rest within this truth, that the invisible is not unreachable. It is written everywhere, waiting to be traced. Galaxies are beads, voids are spaces between notes, light is stretched into music. To measure the universe is to read its quiet song. But even as you listen, a deeper question lingers. If dark energy can be measured through its effects, then perhaps it can also be simulated, modeled in thought, imagined in numbers, tested in experiments on Earth. Perhaps you can build not only instruments to listen, but worlds of mathematics to play out its possibility. The whispers of galaxies have been measured, mapped and traced, leaving patterns that reveal the invisible. Yet beyond the telescopes lies another tool, the quiet power of simulation, where scientists build universes of their own to test the mysteries of dark energy. The universe is full of things you can see, touch and name. Stones beneath your feet, light spilling across your eyes, stars burning in the heavens. These have faces, familiar, visible, present, yet not everything that is real offers itself so openly. Some truths are hidden, faceless, known only through the echoes they leave behind. Dark energy is one of these. You cannot hold it, cannot bottle it, cannot scatter it across a laboratory bench to examine under light. It does not arrive in particles you can count, nor in sparks you can watch. It does not hum or sing, not even faintly, and yet, it is everywhere, woven into the very expansion of the universe. Imagine the wind on an autumn day. You cannot see it, you cannot hold it in your hand, but you see the trees bend, the leaves scatter, the ripples on water. The wind itself has no face, but its presence is undeniable in what it touches. Dark energy is like that wind, though even subtler. It bends not trees but space itself. It scatters not leaves but galaxies. It ripples not ponds but the very rhythm of time. You pause and let this image rest. A cosmos shaped by a faceless force. Galaxies racing away, not because of rockets or engines, but because space itself is stretched by an invisible hand. A universe pushed open by something it cannot show, only reveal through its effect. Scientists search for a face, of course. They ask, is dark energy a field, like the electromagnetic one that guides light? Is it made of particles, tiny quanta that flit unseen through the cosmos? Or is it something even more fundamental, a property of space itself, inseparable from emptiness? None of these questions yet hold a final answer. The truth remains faceless. And yet, this mystery need not feel unsettling. There is comfort in knowing that not all things need to be seen to be trusted. You believe in gravity without ever seeing it direct. You trust in air without glimpsing its molecules. You close your eyes and still feel the warmth of the sun, even if photons are too small for sight. In the same way, you can rest in the presence of dark energy. It need not show its face. Its work is enough. Perhaps mystery itself is part of its gift. For if everything were known, if every force were visible and complete, wonder would fade. Mystery keeps the mind open, keeps the spirit curious. It is the invitation to keep listening, keep watching, keep dreaming. Dark energy, faceless though it may be, deepens the universe with silence. Imagine lying in a meadow, looking up at the sky. Clouds drift,
and you do not see the air moving them, but you know it is there. The hidden carries the visible. So it is with the galaxies overhead. They drift outward, carried by currents you cannot see. The hidden carries the visible. The faceless carries the named. And there is a strange intimacy in this, for you too are carried by forces you cannot see. The beat of your heart is driven by signals too small for the naked eye. Your thoughts arise from patterns of neurons you never witnessed directly. Your breath depends on oxygen you cannot see, exchanged silently within your blood. You are shaped and sustained by the invisible, just as the universe is. Dark energy is not so distant from your own light. It is another reminder that the faceless is often the most essential. You breathe slowly, deeply, and think of the humility this brings. Humanity has built great instruments, enormous telescopes, sprawling simulations, yet for all this effort, dark energy remains beyond capture. It is larger than glass and mirrors, larger than equations and computers. It humbles, reminding you that not all truths bend easily to sight. And yet, science continues. Maps of galaxies grow clearer, measurements of expansion grow sharper. Slowly, patiently, the outlines of dark energy emerge. Not a portrait, but a shadow. Not a face, but a trace. The work is ongoing, and the mystery remains.
You may never see dark energy, but perhaps you do not need to. Perhaps its facelessness is its lesson, that existence is not limited to what appears, that truth is not diminished by silence, that some forces, like love, like time, like wonder, are felt more than seen. You let this thought cradle you. To live in a universe with mysteries is to live in a universe still alive, still unfinished, still singing. Dark energy may not show itself, but in its hiddenness, it keeps the cosmos expanding, keeps the story unfolding. You, drifting on a small planet beneath the stars, are part of that story. You are carried with it, always. And as you rest in this reflection, another thought drifts near. If dark energy has no face, if it can only be known by its effects, then perhaps there are other forces too, other truths not yet measured, other mysteries not yet touched. Perhaps the universe holds more faceless companions, waiting silently in the dark. The faceless force guides galaxies, shaping the story without ever revealing itself, and it leaves you to wonder, if dark energy is unseen yet real, what other mysteries might the universe be hiding in its silence? The night sky stretches above you, vast and unyielding. Its silence can feel endless, its darkness complete, yet within you rises something that refuses to stay silent, a question, a pull, a longing to know. This longing has always been there, stitched into human beings like a second heart. It is the force that lifted the first eyes to the stars, that lit the first fires, that carried the first ships across unknown seas. You are not the first to feel it, and you will not be the last. Across generations, this desire has lived in countless other children lying on the ground, tracing constellations, philosophers wondering about beginnings and ends, astronomers pressing glass lenses to the sky, inventing instruments to catch the faintest light. Each act was born from the same longing you feel now, to understand the mystery above you, to find your place within it. This longing is what makes the universe intimate. For though galaxies lie billions of light years away, though dark energy itself cannot be touched or seen, the very act of wondering draws them close. Each question you carry is a thread, connecting your small life to the largest structures in existence. Curiosity shrinks the distance, turning the infinite into something you can hold in your heart. Dark energy, faceless though it may be, is part of this intimacy. Its mystery calls to you. It reminds you that there is always more to seek, more to imagine, more to learn. Even as it pushes galaxies apart, it pulls minds inward, toward reflection, toward dreaming. It binds you not by answers but by questions, and in that it becomes strangely human. Close your eyes and picture the lineage of seekers. Imagine a campfire in the deep path. Shadows flicker on the walls of stone. Someone tilts their head back, points upward, and asks a question. That question is the same one you carry tonight. What is out there? What moves the stars? Why does the sky widen? Thousands of years fall away, and you are beside them,
sharing the same wonder. You imagine a scholar, centuries later, pressing ink to parchment. They draw circles, spheres, heavens stacked upon heavens. Their vision may not match reality, but it is born from the same fire of curiosity. They too longed to know. They too searched for meaning in the spaces above. Now imagine an astronomer in a quiet observatory, waiting through the cold hours of night. They turn dials, adjust mirrors, and catch the faint glow of galaxies beyond imagination. In that moment, their heart lifts, not only with discovery, but with connection, to you, to the child, to the philosopher, to every seeker who has ever gazed upward. All of them are linked by the same thread, all are bound in the same fabric of longing. You are part of this lineage. Each time you wonder, you join the chorus. Each time you look at the stars and ask what they mean, you echo the questions of countless others. You are not alone in your curiosity. It has always been shared, always been carried across generations like a flame that never goes out. And this flame has built bridges. From curiosity came language, mathematics, telescopes, and spacecraft. From longing came the maps of galaxies, the measurements of expansion, the first hints of dark energy. Each tool, each theory, each equation is not just a step toward knowledge. It is a testament to the human need to seek, to reach, to know. There is beauty in knowing that your desire to understand is not a flaw but a gift. The universe may be vast, and dark energy may remain hidden, but the longing itself is part of the story. It is not separate from the cosmos, it is one of its expressions. Just as stars burn with fusion, just as galaxies drift with expansion, so too do you burn with curiosity. You breathe in slowly, and feel this truth settle in you. You are a seeker in a universe that invites seeking. You are a question in a universe full of answers. And even if those answers remain beyond reach, the act of asking brings meaning. For the longing to know is not only about knowledge, it is also about connection. To wonder is to admit that you are part of something larger. To ask is to open yourself to mystery. In longing you become intimate with the infinite. You join the galaxies not as a separate observer, but as a participant in their unfolding story. And perhaps this is the deepest gift of dark energy, not its measured value, or its equations, not its role in stretching space, but its reminder that mystery endures, that even in an age of maps and instruments, some truths remain hidden, calling you to look higher, dream farther, imagine more. Mystery ensures that longing will never fade. You rest with this thought, soothed by its gentleness. You do not need to solve the cosmos tonight. You only need to feel the thread of curiosity that binds you to it. You only need to breathe, and remember that your longing is not small, not trivial. It is ancient, universal, and alive.
And as you drift deeper into this awareness, another thought rises. If longing is part of what makes you human, then perhaps it also shapes the future. Perhaps the same fire that carried you from caves to stars will carry you still farther to new discoveries, new horizons, new ways of knowing. The longing to know binds you to every seeker before you, and to every horizon yet to come. And with this longing comes another question. If the universe invites seeking, what stories has humanity already written in its search for the stars? Close your eyes and imagine the universe not as a machine or a clock, but as a living being. It breathes, slowly, gently, without effort. From the moment of its birth, it has been exhaled. Every star, every galaxy, every thread of space has been carried on that breath, widening the cosmos. With each unhurried sigh, you are here, a passenger within that long and patient exhale. This breath is not like the gust of a storm, sudden and fierce. It is not like the flare of a match, quick to vanish. It is the breath of eternity, so steady you do not notice it in your daily life, yet it carries you. Each second, space grows wider around you. Galaxies drift, not because they choose to, but because they are carried by the universe's expanding chest. Dark energy is this breath. It does not roar, it does not announce itself. It is simply there, woven into the fabric of space, pressing out. You cannot see it, you cannot touch it, but you live within its rhythm. Like a child resting against the rise and fall of a parent's breathing, you are cradled by the cosmos, rocked by its steady expansion. Think of your own breath for a moment. Inhale. The world fills you. Exhale. The world leaves you. It is a rhythm so natural that you rarely notice it, yet it sustains you. The universe too breathes in its way, but unlike you, it has never inhaled again. It only exhales, and it will continue forever. That is what expansion means. The eternal, outward sigh of space itself. There is comfort in this constancy. The universe does not rush, it does not falter, its breath does not quicken with fear or slow with fatigue. It is endless, even, patient. It stretches the galaxies wider with each passing age. Unhurried, infinite. You, lying here now, are part of that endless breath. You move with it, you rest within it, you belong to it. Imagine yourself floating in a dark field of stars. Around you, galaxies drift apart. None move sharply, none jolt or scatter. They simply slide away, like lanterns carried gently by water. You are among them, rocked not by waves or wind, but by the steady exhale of space. You do not need to row, you do not need to resist. The breath carries you, as it carries everything. This image has been there since the beginning of human wonder. Ancient poets spoke of the breath of gods, of winds that filled creation. Today, scientists call it expansion, and they measure its pace with equations and telescopes. But beneath the names and numbers, the truth remains the same. The universe is exhaling, and you are within its breath. Even the word cosmos speaks softly of order, of harmony, and harmony always has rhythm. The galaxies are not scattered randomly, but carried evenly, stretched like fabric pulled from every side. That fabric hums with a tension you cannot feel, but which telescopes can trace. It is the hum of dark energy, the soft pulse of a force with no You let this hum wash over you in your imagination. It is not a sound in your ears, but a presence in your being. You rest in the thought that you are not separate from this rhythm. Just as your body expands and contracts with breath, so too does the universe expand with dark energy. You are breath within breath, a rhythm nested in a larger rhythm. And so, the story circles back to where it began, with silence, with breathing, with mystery. In the first chapter of existence, when the universe burst into being, it began to exhale. Stars were born in that breath. Galaxies spun in its widening. Life arose on a small planet carried by its current. And here you are, lying within that same exhale, still expanding, still drifting, still breathing. You may wonder what lies at the end of this exhalation. Will it grow too wide, too thin, too cold? Will the breath stretch until no galaxies remain in sight, until no stars remain to shine? Perhaps, but for now, what matters is that the breath continues, patient and steady. You are alive in the midst of its sigh, alive within the lullaby of expansion. It is a lullaby without words, yet full of meaning. Each galaxy is a note, each star a tone. The song grows softer with distance, but it never ends. Dark energy is the rhythm, unseen but steady, carrying the melody forward. You listen not with your ears, but with your being. The song surrounds you, holds you, comforts you. You breathe again slowly, in rhythm with the thought. Inhale, exhale. The rise and fall of your chest mirrors the universe's expansion. You are not apart from it. You are its echo. The air within you was once part of stars, forged in fusion, carried outward by explosions, spread across galaxies by the same expansion that carries them still. Every breath you take is cosmic. Every sigh you release is a continuation of the story. And so, you fall into stillness, comforted by the idea that the universe does not collapse, does not halt, but continues. Its exhale is forever. You are part of that forever. You belong to the cosmos, not only as an observer, but as one of its breath. The galaxies drift, the stars shine, the fabric stretches. Expansion is no storm, it is a gentle sigh, unhurried, infinite. You rest in its cradle, carried by a force you cannot see, but always feel. The universe exhales, and you are within that endless breath. And as you drift into rest, you wonder, if the cosmos is breathing still, what dreams might it be carrying on its side?